Hi, here we are doing Singapore Math Course 1A 3.2 Real World Problems Fractions. As I said in the previous video, we do not have a content video for this chapter because these are real world problems. So it's similar to the first chapter. The only difference is the problems are given in the form of a word problem or a story problem. So are you ready? Let's go. A group of children shared six fruit tarts equally. What's being shared? Six fruit tarts equally. Okay? Each child received 2/9 of a tart. How many children were in the group? Now, how do we decide what's the divisor, what's the dividend? Well, reading question equally tells us that a group of children shared six. They shared. What is shared? Six, right? So we write six first. And it's shared. So it is divided by. And it says each child received 2/9. So each one is receiving 2/9. So this is how you form your equation. Now it's simple solving, right? So we say 6 as it is, division becomes multiplication, and we inverse the fraction. So that's 9 upon 2. 2 times 1, 2 times 3. That means we have 3 times 9 in the numerator, so that's 27. That's 1 in the denominator, so it's 27. So how many children were in the group? So you will write the whole sentence. There were 27 children in the group. Ready for the next? A rectangle has an area of 15 square meters. So area is given to us, right? Which is 15 square meters. So we say area equals to 15 square meters. That's meter square. It is divided into parts. So that is divided. It clearly says, right? So 15 is divided. Each part with an area of 3/8 square meter. So it is divided into parts, each with an area of 3/8 square meter, right? So that 15 is divided into many parts and each part is 3 upon 8. And your equation is done. How many parts are there? So we rewrite the equation. 15 division becomes multiplication, and this is inversed. So that's 8 upon 3. So 3 times 1 and 3 times 5. So it's 5 times 8 is 40, and in the denominator it's just 1, so that's 40. How many parts are there? Write the whole statement. There are 40 parts. Aren't these questions easy? They are, right? Reading it slowly, carefully, underlining important words will help you form your equation. The next one. 24 pints of apple juice are poured into 2/4 pint bottles. So 24 pints is poured into other bottles, right? It's 24 that is getting divided between the bottles, right? So we will say 24 divided by 2 upon 4. We rewrite it. We say 24. This division becomes multiplication and the fraction inverses. So that's 4 upon 2. And we know that 2 times 1, 2 times 12, right? So the answer is going to be 12 times 4, which is 48. So we say how many bottles? There are 48 bottles. Ready for the next? 40 pounds of sugar are repackaged into packets. 40 is repackaged, right? So of course 40 is getting divided. Okay, so 40 gets divided because this repackaging tells us that. Each holding 5 upon 6 pound of sugar. So what's the weight of each packet? 5 upon 6. So 40 gets divided into different packets and each packet contains 5 upon 6 pounds of sugar. How many packets? So we rewrite it. We say 40. Division becomes multiplication and we inverse is fraction. That's 6 upon 5. 5 times 1, 5 times 8. So 8 times 6 is 48. So we say there are 48 packets. And here comes the next one. 6/7 of a rectangle is colored red. Okay, 6/7 is colored red. Timothy cuts this red part into a number of pieces. What is he doing? He cuts that into number of pieces. So 6/7 is getting divided into number of pieces, so that each piece is 2/7 of the whole rectangle. So each one is 2/7. How many red pieces does Timothy have? So our equation is already there, right? We rewrite this. We say 6 upon 7, first fraction as it is. Division becomes multiplication and we inverse this. So that's 7 upon 2. 7, 7 out, that's 1 and 1, right? 2 times 1 and 2 times 3. So the answer is 3. So how many red pieces does he have? 3. So you're going to write the whole statement, right? We are done with 5 already and we are moving to the 6th. Wow. Karen used 5/8 yard of ribbon to make weights to add onto the tail of her kite. She cut the length of ribbon into equal pieces that were each 1/12 yard long. There is a ribbon that's 5/8. That's the length, that's the measurement given for that, right? For the ribbon, which Karen is using to make parts of it. And they're equal parts. We divide this by 1/12, right? Because this is the total, right? And that total, from that, we are making these tiny pieces. So we divide that. How many 1/12 yard pieces did Karen cut? So we rewrite the equation. 5 upon 8 as it is. Division becomes multiplication. And we inverse this fraction. So we have 4 times 2 and 4 times 3, which means 5 times 3 is 15 upon 2. Now 15 upon 2 will be how much? It's 7.5, right? Or 7 1 upon 2. 15 divided by 2. So that's 7 times 14 and 1 is left. So you get this format, right? Or if you go further like this, 7 times 14, 1 is the remainder, you put 0 and you put the decimal. So that's 7.5. Okay. What's the question? How many 1/12 yard pieces did Karen cut? So 7.5, zero point 0.5 does not count, right? Because that's half. That's not complete. It has to be 1/12. So answer is 7. Okay, we will not consider this half because we need to have each one 1/12. That half is not 1/12. It's an extra piece that's left. Karen cut 7 pieces that were 1/12 yard. Okay, the next one. A rectangular plot of land has an area of 3 by 4 square mile. So the area for the rectangular plot is given to us. Its width. So we have area and we have width. Okay, and that is 3 upon 20 mile. What is the length of the plot? What do we need to find? We need to find the length. Area is 3 by 4, which we divide by the width, that's 3 by 20, to get the length, right? Because area would be width times length. So if we rearrange, length would be area upon width, right? So let's rearrange our equation, rewrite it. So we say 3 upon 4 as it is. Division becomes multiplication and we inverse this. That's 20 upon 3. 3 times 1, 3 times 1. 4 times 1, 4 times 5. That means we have 5 as the answer. So the length is 5 mile. Okay, units are very important. Write the whole sentence. The length of the plot of land is 5 mile. And 7 questions done already. Let's go to the next. How many 3/8 cup servings are in a pitcher containing these cups of orange juice? Okay, now we have to be careful because usually up until now, our first number was always the dividend, the second was a divisor. But read your question carefully. Don't get into that idea, okay, now it's 3 by 8 divided by 6, 3 upon 4. No, this is not what it's saying, okay? How many 3/8 cup servings are? So they are in a pitcher which contains 6/3/4 cups of orange juice. So pitcher has this, right? That's the total. So it's very important to understand what's your total, and that's your dividend, okay? So 6/3/4 divided by 3 upon 8, right? So how many such servings can be there in the whole, the total that we have, that's 6/3/4. First, we need to work on this, right? And I'm sure you remember, we multiply this and we add that. So this will be 6 times 4 plus 3 upon 4, which is equal to, that's 24 plus 3 upon 4, that's 27 upon 4. So our equation will be 27 upon 4, this part first, right? Divided by 3 upon 8. So this becomes 27 upon 4, first fraction as it is. Division becomes multiplication and we inverse this. So that's 8 upon 3. And we now cancel the common factors. So that's 3 times 1, 3 times 9. 4 times 1, 4 times 2. That means we have 9 times 2 and that's 18. 18 servings of 3/8 cup are there in the pitcher that contains the total of 6 3 upon 4 cups of orange juice. The next, they buys 8 1/3 pounds of meat to make meat patties. Wow. He uses 5/9 pound of meat for each patty. Okay, each one is 5 upon 9 pound and the total he buys is 8 1/3, right? So that's the total. So we do total divided by each one, right? How many meat patties can he make? So we say 8 1/3 divided by 5/9. That's the weight of each patty. So we need to work on this first, and the process is multiplication and that's addition. So we say 8 times 3 plus 1 upon 3. So this is 24 plus 1 upon 3. That's 25 upon 3. So that's how you write this mixed fraction as an improper fraction. So we write 25 upon 3, division as it is 5 upon 9. We are just rewriting the equation, right? Now we rearrange it to solve. So we say 25 upon 3, division becomes multiplication and we inverse this. So that's 9 upon 5. 3 times 1, 3 times 3. 5 times 1, 5 times 5. So in the numerator we have 5 times 3, that's 15. And in the denominator 1 times 1. So how many patties can he make? 15 patties. They are simple questions, right? Okay, so this one has two parts now. A carpenter has a 6-foot long board. Okay, he wants to cut the board into pieces that are each 4 upon 5 foot long. So this is what he has. That says his total, right? And this is each. How many 4 upon 5 foot long pieces can the carpenter cut from the board? So we always do total, right? So that's 6 foot divided by 4 upon 5 because that's the length of each one. So we rewrite this and we say it's 6 times 5 upon 4. So that's 2 times 2 and that's 2 times 3, which means we have 15 upon 2. So we can rearrange this and say this is 7 1/2, right? Because 2 times 7 is 14 and 14 to 15 1 remainder and the divisor 2 as it is. So how many can he make? He can make only 7 because that's half. It will not be of this length, okay? This half will not be of that length. So we say 7. He can cut 7 such pieces, each measuring 4 upon 5 foot. What length of the original board will be left after the carpenter has cut all the pieces that are 4/5 foot long? So, what is left? This half that we have over here is left, right? So, how do we do that calculation? And it's basically 4, 5 is the length of each one, right? And how many could he make? 7. So we multiply with 7. 4 times 7 is 28, and 5 times 1 is 5. So that's what he is using. Okay? Now what's the total? So we do total minus whatever he's using to get what's left, right? So total is 6 minus is using 28 upon 5, and that's what is going to be left. And now you know how to do this subtraction. For us to perform subtraction, they both should have the same denominator. So we do 6 times 5 and 1 times 5, right? So that's how this will be 5. We need the same denominator, minus 28 upon 5 as it is, because that's 5 already. So 6 times 5 is 30 upon 5 minus 28 upon 5. Same denominator. So numerators can be worked, right? So that's 30 minus 28, which is 2 upon 5. So this is what will be left. 2/5 foot will be left. We have part B here again so that I can show you other way of solving the same question. Now from part 1, we know that he could make 7.5 pieces, right? If he tried to cut each one measuring 4 upon 5 foot. Now in that case, we say that these are the whole pieces. That's what we counted for our part A question. And now this is what's left. That's not whole, it's just half, right? It's half. But half of what? Of the total? No, half of this measurement, because that's what he was trying to make each one, right? So we say half of 4 upon 5. Now here, once and twice. So here we are left with 2 upon 5. The same thing as we did with the other method, right? So either of the methods, but this goes a bit faster. A candle maker has 4.5 pounds of wax. She wants to cut the wax into pieces that are 2 upon 3 pound each. So this is the total, right? And that's the weight of each one. How many 2/3 pound pieces can she divide the wax into? So we do total 4.5 divided by 2 upon 3. So we work on this first. That's times and that's plus. So we say 4 times 2 plus 1 upon 2, which is equal to 8 plus 1 upon 2 equals to 9 upon 2. So this is the improper fraction for this mixed fraction that we have. So we have 9 upon 2 divided by 2 upon 3, which we say 9 upon 2. Division becomes multiplication and we inverse this. So that's 3 upon 2. So that is 9 times 3 is 27 and 2 times 2 is 4, which we can convert, right? So 27. 4 times 6 is 24. 24 to 27 is 3. So that's the 3 remainder and we write 4. Okay, so she can have only 6, right? Because 3/4 is not complete. Okay, so let's do the division here. So 27 divided by 4. That's times 6, 24, 3 remainders. This is how you get your mixed number over there. So how much wax is left is the next question, just like we had the previous one. So here we say this is what she can have, right? 6, because this 3/4 does not count. So 6 is the answer to that. If she's getting 6 pieces and each piece is 2 upon 3, right? So that's how you can get the total used. So that's 3 times 1, 3 times 2. Answer is 4. So 4 is being used, okay? This is what we are saying used. So we say total minus what's used will give us what's left. So the total is 4.5, right? Minus used is 4. 4.5 minus 4 is half, right? So half pound is left. As we did for the previous question, we have part B again to show you the other method. From part A, we know that it can be 6 3/4 pieces, each weighing 2/3 pounds, right? And for that case, we took 6 to be the whole number for part A. And this is what's left because it's not whole. That cannot be taken as 1, right? So we say as we did before, 3/4 is left of this because that's the weight of each one, right? So 2/3. Now here, 3 and 3 out. 2 times 1, 2 times 2. That means we have 1/2. Same as before. Okay, so that's what we are left with. Ready for the next? Let's go. Makalia read 1/6 of a book on Monday, 1/6 on Monday, and another 1/3 of the book on Tuesday. She took another 4 days to finish reading the book. So she's reading on Monday, Tuesday, and another 4 days. So that means in all it's 6 days, right? She read the same number of pages on each of the 4 days. It's very important. She's reading the same number of pages on each of the 4 days. So if she reads 10 pages on first day, she reads 10 on second, she reads 10 on third, and she reads 10 on fourth day. So they are same number of pages. Okay, this each is very important word here. What fraction of the book did Makalia read on each of the 4 days? So on each of the 4 days, how much is she reading? So the addition of all the fractions, all the days should lead to 1, right? So on Monday, we have 1/6, right? And then on Tuesday, we have 1/3. And then something on the rest of the days, and that has to equal to 1. So this is how you solve this. Now, in this case, the denominators are not same, right? So this has to be multiplied. We make this times 2 and times 2, then it will be 6. So we say 1/6 plus, now this has 1 times 2 is 2, 3 times 2 is 6, plus x equals to 1. Now the denominators are same. So we can say 1 plus 2 is 3. So 3/6 plus x equals to 1. How do we find x now? From this, x will be 1 minus, like this is plus, right? So we do minus 3/6. It's balancing if you remember. So we do minus 3/6 and minus 3/6, right? So this cancels out. So this is how we do it. And now we have to equalize the denominator. So this has to be 6 over here. So 1 times 6. And of course, then you multiply here also, right? So that's 6. So we say that x equals to, this is 1 times 6 is 6/6 minus 3/6. Now denominators are same. So we leave it as it is and we can do the operation with the numerator. So 6 minus 3 is 3. And we can simplify this further, right? Because 3 to 6 is times 2, right? So this is further simplified and we say this 1/2. On those 4 days, it's half a book that she is reading. What fraction of the book did Makalia read on each of the 4 days? Do we need total or we need each? We need each of the 4 days, right? So this further needs to be divided because this is the total that she is reading on 4 days. So we say half divided by, right? How many days? 4 days. So this becomes half multiply, right? Division becomes multiplication and we inverse. Inverse because this nothing means 1. So we inverse it. So it becomes 1/8. So on each of those 4 days, she is reading 1/8 of the book. Okay? So if you reach until here, it is the total of 4 days, but we are asked on each of the 4 days. So we had to divide that by 4 to get this answer. Part B. If she read 40 pages on each of these 4 days, so each of the 4 days, how much is she reading? 40 pages, right? So one day is 1/8. 1/8 of the book that she reads, right? 1/8 of the book is how many pages? 40 pages. If she read 40 pages on each of these days, find the number of pages in the book, right? So we need to find the total number of pages. So what do we do here now? We say times 8 and times 8. So this 8 and 8 gets cancelled. So the book will have how many pages? 40 times 8. 4 times 8 is 32 and this 0. So 320 pages. Okay. So this is how you get this. And we move to the next one, 13th. A costume designer has 40 yards of red fabric for making costumes for a musical. In the musical, 8 performers will wear red dresses and 14 performers will wear red scarves. So total is this, right? That's what the person has. Then we say the costume designer uses this yards for each dress. For each dress, you need 3.5 yards. And how many dresses? 8 dresses. Okay. And 3/4 yard for a scarf. And how many scarves? 14. After making the dresses and scarves, the costume designer wants to use the leftover fabric to make some sashes for the dresses. If each sash uses 1/4 yards of fabric, how many sashes can the costume designer make? So it's from the leftover, right? So how do we know what's leftover? Which means we need to calculate that. So let's see how much is used. So there are dresses and there are scarves. So let's work with the dress part first. How much is used for each one? 3.5. And how many dresses? 8. So we multiply, right? So that becomes 3.5. We know how to do this, right? So 3 times 2 and 1. Can we do this mentally? 3 times 2 is 6. 6 plus 1 is 7. So we say 7 upon 2 times 8, right? And then here we have 2 times 1, 2 times 4. So that is 28. So 28 yards will be used for dresses. Now let's do for the scarf. So that's scarf here. How much is used per scarf? That's 3 upon 4. And how many do we need? 14, right? That's the total that she is making. So 2 times 2, 2 times 7. So that's 3 times 7 is 21 upon 2, which means 10.5 yards, right? So that's used for scarf. So now we have what's used for dresses and what's used for scarf. What is the total for this? 28 plus 10.5. That's 38.5 yards is already used, right? So what's left? How much is left? So that's total minus what's used. So the total was 40. Used is this. That's 38.5, which means 1.5 yard is left, right? 40 minus 38.5 is 1.5. So 1.5 yard is left. Now that needs to be divided. So we say 1.5 divided by. It's divided how? Each one uses 1/4, right? So 1.5 divided by 1/4. Now this 1.5 is basically 3 upon 2, right? We can say that. If you divide 3 by 2, you'll get 1.5, right? So 3 by 2 divided by 1 upon 4, rewriting 3 upon 2 times, we inverse this, right? 4 upon 1. So 2 times 1, 2 times 2, which means we have 3 times 2, that's 6. So she can make 6 sash, right? 6 sashes from that. The costume designer decides to make each sash smaller, okay, so that each of the 8 dresses can have a sash. What fraction of a yard of fabric should the costume designer use to make each sash? Now, here we found it's only 6, but there are 8 dresses, and he wants 8. The idea is to make it smaller, right? And we need 8. What's left? How much is left? 1.5. So we divide that. So we say 3 upon 2, right? 1.5 is that. And how many dresses? 8. So we are going to divide this by 8 for us to know what should be the size of that sash. So we rewrite 3 upon 2 as it is. Division becomes multiplication and we inverse this. So this is nothing means 1 over there, right? So 1 upon 8. So that is equal to 3 times 1 is 3. 2 times 8 is 16. That's what should be used for each sash. So each sash should be 3 upon 16 yard. So we can go do the reverse process to confirm our answer. So this is the length we have here, right? For each sash. So that's 3 upon 16. And then we multiply with 8 because we are making 8 such sashes, right? So 8 times 1, 8 times 2. What do we get? 3 upon 2. Exactly this. Okay, so that was just a way to check our answer. Ready for the next one? Yes, of course, always. The capacity of a large milk carton is 3 upon 4 liters. The milk from one dozen is how many? 12. Large milk cartons is poured into a machine. The machine pumps the milk into bottles that each, okay, holds 2/5 liter. How many bottles of milk can be filled? So if we understand this here, it is 2/3 liters. That's the capacity of the large milk carton. How many do we have? 1 dozen, right? So each one is that, and we have 1 dozen. So first we need to have the total quantity of milk, right? So we do 2/3 times 12 because this one is each, and we have 1 dozen. So we multiply with 12. Now this one that we have is a mixed number and we know the calculations. Let's do it mentally. 2 times 4 is 8. 8 plus 3 is 11. So that's 11 upon 4 times 12. 4 times 1, 4 times 3. So that is 33. 11 times 3, right? So that's 33 liters of milk in all. Now that milk goes into the machine and that machine is filling up the bottles that can hold 2/5 of the milk, right? So total is 33 divided by the capacity of each small bottle. That's 2/5. That will help us know how many bottles can be filled with that quantity of milk that we have. So 33 division becomes multiplication and we inverse this. So that's 5 upon 2. Now 33 times 5 is how much? 33 times 5. 5 times 3 is 15, 1 carry. 5 times 3 is 15, 15 plus 1 is 16. So that's 165 upon 2. Now 165 divided by 2. 2 times 8 is 16. That's 0, that's 5. 2 times 2 is 4. 1 remainder. So we put 0 and a decimal here. So 2 times 5 is 10. So the answer is 82.5. But can we have half a bottle? No. So the total bottles that will be completely filled will be 82. Okay? This half is not a complete bottle, right? So that's 82 over there. Easy? And here comes the last question. Mr. Nelson used 3/8 of his money to buy some pens. Okay, 3/8 for pens. And 2/5 of the remainder to buy 2 notebooks. So how many notebooks? It's 2, it's given. A notebook costs 3 times as much as a pen. So, this is an important piece of information. So, to buy one notebook, you need the money that's 3 times the cost for the pen. Okay? How many pens did he buy? So, first we need to find what's this remainder. Do we know that? We don't. So, we first find that. So, total is 1 minus what's used. 3/8, right? That's what he is spending to buy the pens. So that would be, we equalize the denominator. So we do this here, right? So we say 1 times 8 and also here 8 because denominator is 8. So that means we have 8 upon 8 minus 3 upon 8, which is 5 upon 8, right? So this is what is remainder, okay, after buying the pens. Now it says he uses 2/5 of the remainder to buy the books. So we say 2/5 of the remainder, and the remainder is 5 upon 8, which means this is 2/5 of means multiply of 5, 8. 5 and 5 out. 2 times 1, 2 times 4. So we have 1 upon 4. So he's using 1/4 of his money to buy what? 2 notebooks. Okay, it's not one, it's clearly given. That's for 2 notebooks, right? Now that's for 2 notebooks. How much is it for one notebook? So to find the cost for one notebook, we say 1/4 divided by 2 because 1/4 is the cost for 2 books, right? We need for one. So this rearranging 1 by 4 as it is, division becomes multiplication and we inverse this fraction. So that's 1 upon 2. So that becomes 1/8. So 1/8 is used for one notebook, right? And we saw that here the cost is equal to the cost of 3 pens. So now if we divide this money that is spent to buy pens, so that's 3/8 of the amount he spent on buying the pens, right? Now we divide that for the notebooks to see, because one notebook is 3 pence. So we say divided by 1/8. So we rewrite this 3/8 as it is, then division becomes multiplication and we inverse the fraction. So 8 and 8 is out, that's 3. So we do 3 times 3 because this amount buys me 3 pens, right? That's the amount for one notebook, or it's the amount for 3 pens. So that's why we have 3 here and the answer 3 from here. So that's 9. So that's what he can buy. So how many pens did he buy? He bought 9 pens. Okay, so this is how we solve this question, and we end it here because we are done with all 15 questions. Word problems is something that students struggle with. I suggest that you rewatch this so that it's drilled well into your brain and your brain is able to make connections now and also when you have your assessments, and also in future when you solve more difficult questions as you go higher up in your other grades. I shall see you in the content video for the next chapter. Until then, keep practicing. Goodbye.